ladies, welcome back to my channel for a very fun, very fall, very cozy video. I am ready for fall. We're in September, we're transitioning from summer to fall, and I'm just in that mood to be reading cozy books, reading spooky books, reading anything that reminds me of fall. We're gonna have a full-on little fall moment and have a little bit of a reading fall cozy books or spooky books. So you know what? Let's just dive right into the first book. This book, The Unmaking of Drew. Who is Drew? The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. And I actually bought this one probably back in May. And I have been wanting to read it because I've heard really good things about it. But I just was never in the mood. I was really wanting summery books. I wanted something different. Because like looking at this book, like this just screams fall to me. Like the colors, the trees, just everything about it, the summary of it. I'm like, this is very cozy, very fall, very cold weather, leaves are changing kind of book. I actually started this one last night and I am 82 pages in and I am loving it. Our main character, June, it comes from a family of women who have this curse that they start seeing things, they start hearing things, smelling things, and they go a little bit mad before they pass away. Well, June's mom, Susanna, disappeared when she was pregnant with June, and June just shows up randomly, but Susanna doesn't. She disappears, she's gone, we don't know what happened to her. So June's grandmother takes care of her, and we're starting out at the beginning of the book where June's grandma, has passed away. So we're following June as she is now navigating life without her grandma. She was taking care of her up until she passed away. And June actually started having the hallucinations probably a year prior to her grandma passing, but she hasn't told anyone. She's gone to the doctor to kind of keep an eye on it because it is well known that the Farrow women have this sickness, as they call it. They don't know what it is, they don't know why, but it happens to all the Farrow women. So June has been experiencing this for about a year now, and after her grandma passes away, she gets a card in the mail. Now it kind of starts picking up. We got a little bit of mystery of what's this curse, why is she seeing these things, and how do we break it? It's very cozy. It's definitely giving spooky season because she's seeing figures, she's seeing doors, she's seeing all these different things that aren't there, or are they? We're getting to a point where like trying to figure out like something's going on, and maybe they aren't sick, maybe they're living in two different timelines. I really don't know because I'm only 80 pages in, but I am loving it. And it's literally so perfect for fall. I'm so glad I waited to read this. I'm gonna go jump back into it because I am loving the story and I need to know what happens next. Is so good. Whoa. finished The Unmaking of June Farrow. Quick little review. Loved it. 5-star. Go read it. Now the next book we're picking up is The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. I'm actually 78 pages in so far. It's a really short book. It's less than 300 pages. It's about a grumpy bookstore owner, and I love it so far. Like, I'm very intrigued by the story, so I think we're just gonna dive right into this one and we'll talk about these books in a little bit. Okay, let's talk about these books. Oh my goodness. The Unmaking of June Farrow. I loved this one. We are following June, who comes from a family of women who have this curse. They get sick and they see hallucinations, they see doors, they see people, they smell things, and essentially they go mad right before they pass away. We're following June, and she's trying to figure out why. Kind of figure out like why, what's happening, how can she stop it. And I don't know, I think this is kind of a spoiler, so if you want to read this and you want to go in completely blind, go ahead and skip over this next part, because I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of what happens. But essentially, these women live in two different timelines. They see a door, and if they cross through it, they go to another time. Well, June goes to 1951, and she had already been there, but she does not remember it at all. And we kind of go through that story, and we meet some people who her past or future self, I guess it's technically her future self, had met. We're following her story, and we're kind of figuring out what happened, and she's starting to get her memories back from when she used to be there in the future past. It's a little confusing, but it's so good at the same time. And ultimately, I gave this book a 5-star. It's probably one of my top 5 reads of 2024. Like, it's just so good. I love it so much, and I definitely will be rereading this one. And I know me talking about it probably was confusing, didn't really give much, but I don't want to say too much to spoil it, but I also want to sell you the book because it's so good. Anyways, moving on. 5-star, loved. I picked up The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry next. I actually finished this one really quickly. It's a short fiction book. It follows the life of A.J. Fikry, who is a bookstore owner, and he is a widower, and he's grumpy, he's not happy in life, and an unexpected package shows up at the bookstore that completely changes his life. And it essentially just follows his life from when this package arrives up until the very end of his life. It's a story about loss, second chances, love. I enjoyed this one. I don't know what I'm going to rate it. I did read it really quickly and I did enjoy it, but I don't think it's a 5-star for me. But I also don't know what I want to rate it. The next book I'm going to be reading for this video, and possibly the last, is One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus. I've not read any of her books, but I've been wanting to read this series for quite some time now. I just haven't gotten to it. But all I know, this is about some students who are in detention, and one of them doesn't make it out. And they realize his death was not an accident. So I feel like I think we're going to go through the investigation of what happens, and we're going to find out, and I'm very intrigued by this. I don't know much about it. Honestly, I think this one could be really good. Hopefully I love it. I do have the second one. I don't own the third one yet because it doesn't come out in paperback until next month or November. I'm not really sure. So I will be waiting to read that one until I can get it on paperback. So maybe starting the series is a mistake because I'm going to have to wait for the last one. but I'm doing it anyway, so let's just do it. Good morning, reader besties. We have finished our book. We have finished 3 books, and we're just gonna do a little review of each of them. So the first book we read, The Unmaking of June Farrow. I feel like I talked about this one a lot. So we'll just do a quick rapid fire wrap-up thoughts. 5 stars. Loved this one. I loved the magical realism. I loved the mystery of the curse and what was happening. There was a little bit of a murder mystery in there as well, like trying to figure out who killed this person, trying to figure out what was happening in this world. I love the characters. I love the concept. Really got sucked in and invested in this story very quickly, actually. I really enjoyed this one, and I would recommend this one to literally anyone and everyone. Next we read The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry by Gabrielle Zevin. This is a contemporary fiction that follows a bookstore owner who is a widower, and he has an unexpected package show up at the bookstore that really does in fact change his life. And once that package shows up, we start to see him change and grow as a person. We see, him find love in different places. We see that how he cares for other people. So it was a very intriguing story. I did enjoy it, and I actually finished it really quickly, but it just wasn't my favorite book I've read recently. Maybe I would have liked this more if I read it before I read A Man Called Ove, because I feel like I preferred that. I think I like that story about the grumpy man who finds love and found family more than I enjoyed this one. I don't know. It was still really good, and I enjoyed it, so I think 3.5 or 3.75 stars for this one. Alright, and lastly, we read One of Us Is Lying by Karen McManus. This story follows 4 students who are in, it follows 5 students who are in detention, and only 4 of them make it out alive. Simon ends up passing away. Simon had an app that he shared a lot of people's secrets. He would do it not so anonymously. He would put their initials so everyone in the school knew. And so Simon probably had a lot of enemies, or a lot of people that didn't like him. And each of the students in detention each had their own secrets that they would not want getting out. So there's lots of lies and secrecy in this book. The plot twist was not what I was expecting. I kind of knew who did it, or I suspected it, but who was working with this person I was not expecting that. So I feel like it was done very well. I was very intrigued. I feel like also, though, it kind of dragged on. There's parts I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little bit bored. It could have gone a little bit faster, maybe that's just me, though. I did finish this one in 2 days, and it's a 360 page book, so it was very good. I was very sucked into the story, and I wanted to know who did it and why. Overall, I really did enjoy this story, and I give it a 4 stars, and will be continuing the series at some point. I know, I kind of want to pick up the next one already and see what that one's about, because I don't know what that one could be about. Is it just like in the same world, different people, or do we get more about these people? I don't know. Find out in the future. Anyways, reader besties, thank you for joining me as we read some books that kind of remind us of fall, trying to tackle the physical TBR as well. We're going to be continuing that because I told myself we are not buying any more books until we cut down a large chunk of our physical TBR. We're doing great so far. Like, I just picked up a book on my Kindle, and the last 5 books I've read have been physical books, so we're doing good. We're getting there. Jensen, stop rambling. Thank you for watching, and if you want to connect, all my socials are down below. If you read any of these books, let me know, especially if you read this one, because I just want to talk about this one. It's so good. Like, maybe I'm overhyping it for you. I just personally really loved it. So if you want to read these books and talk to me about them, feel free to add me on any of the socials down below, and I hope to see you in the next one.